So after months of anti-war activists asking Bernie to do anything, I mean literally anything, to help resolve the situation between Gaza and Israel, he finally does something. The bare minimum. And still the Senate shoots it down. On Tuesday night, the Senate voted down a resolution that said that they would not provide any military aid to Israel if the State Department failed to produce a report saying that they were not committing human rights violations in Gaza. Y'all, I'm a little confused because it's supposedly like freezing temperatures in DC and it's 114 degrees in Rio, but the devil clearly lives in DC and not in Rio, because how the hell do you shoot down a resolution that just wants to make sure you're not, I don't know, killing 10,000 children with the weapons that are being provided by the United States? Mind you, the resolution didn't even call for a ceasefire. The resolution didn't even say we will stop providing military aid in perpetuity. The resolution didn't even call for punishing Israel if they are in fact using U.S. weapons to commit war crimes in Gaza. The resolution only asks for the State Department to provide a report. That's it. That's all. A report on the crimes that we know the U.S. is going to do anything about. Just that. And Biden's White House made sure to let us know that even though this resolution was going to fail anyway, they were against the resolution from the beginning, because John Kirby said, we don't believe this resolution is the right vehicle to address these issues. What? It's a report. Then tell me, John, how do we address the issue of Israel killing 10,000 kids? What's the right vehicle to deal with killing 20,000 civilians? Tell me, Mr. Kirby, which gear should we be in when we find this vehicle on the road to figuring out how to deal with bombing churches, bombing hospitals, and bombing refugee camps? The reason the U.S. doesn't want that report put out to the world is because they don't want to be implicated when everyone finds out that it's been primarily weapons made by the U.S. that is responsible for the death of 20,000 civilians in Gaza. Oh, and let's not forget the hostages that are Israeli, but somehow still manage to get killed by Israeli bombings because, you know, when you're not aiming at anybody, anybody can get killed. So, yeah, I'm sure they don't want that on their progress report.
Joe Biden is set to designate the Houthis in Yemen as a terrorist organization. The Houthis in Yemen are officially known as the Ansar-Allah, and they control the capital and govern over 80% of the population. They are the formally recognized government of Yemen. So Genocide Joe and his entire batshit crazy administration just put a whole ass country on the terrorist list because Yemen is the only country that is following their obligation laid out by the Genocide Convention. The Genocide Convention states that anyone who helps enable a genocide, including private entities, is fair target. So according to the United States and UK, the Ansar-Allah are evil because they're implementing a blockade to oppose a genocide. Also, the United States wants to take an anti-blockade position. You sure you want to have that conversation? The United States has implemented a blockade on Cuba for decades, not because they implemented a genocide, but because Cuba chose a different financial and economic system than them. But people in the West think they have the right to condemn the brave warriors of Yemen? So the cowardly Israelis who bomb hospitals and target children, according to the United States, they're not terrorists. According to the United States, the KKK is not a terrorist organization. There are over 3 million signatures on change.org that have been begging our government to label the KKK as a terrorist organization, and they still refuse to. So the KKK, not terrorists. The people who oppose genocide as their legal duty, they are terrorists, according to this country. If you are not careful, The media will have you hate the people that are being oppressed while loving the people who are doing the oppressing.
What's poppin'?
Joe Biden.
Let me put that logo back up. What's poppin', my friends, my family? We are back again. We are back again for another episode of a Thursday edition of Nick and Night. What's good? What's poppin', family? What's poppin', family? I see you guys. Make sure you like and share the video. Make sure you guys follow Hotspot as well. They help me with the editing. As you guys see, they put a lot of bangers together for me. I pretty much ran the camera. I send them the receipts, and my boy Greg cooks on Hotspot. So make sure you follow them. Someone explained to me how this supposed to make sense. The idea you're gonna have who they call the Houthis on the terrorist list. They're the Inshallah. They are in control of Yemen. One of the only countries that are doing their obligation in opposing genocide. But that's the people they want us to hate. You have people who consider themselves anti-establishment thinkers. These are mostly people on the right. But they believe every time the media paints an enemy, they go head first into it. The right wing that claims that they don't trust MSNBC and CNN and the quote-unquote liberal media, they believe everything they say about socialism, though. They believe everything they say about China, though. They believe everything they say about Cuba. You had both parties, the majority of white Americans of both parties, that are cheering on strikes in Yemen because the Ansarullah in Yemen are terrorists. This is what they're telling you. What is the action? This is what I said on Jimmy the other day, and I keep repeating this. Why can't anyone define what terrorism is? So is it when you kill people? Is terrorism waging war? They don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that will make the United States and Israel the biggest terrorist countries in the world by far. Are they saying that the Ansarullah in Yemen are terrorists because they are implementing a blockade, as I mentioned in my video? Are you guys trying to go down that route as well? That won't work well for you guys because there's something called a Cuban blockade that you guys have been implementing for decades now. And you guys know every single country in the world except like the United States, Israel, Ukraine, and like 2 other vassal states of the United States have condemned the United States for the the blockade of Cuba. You have, and we hear this all the time, make sure you gotta check if you're still subscribed. You gotta know YouTube shadow banned us, and there's been a lot of fuckery going on with our channel. So make sure you check your subscription. I appreciate that. Out of left field. MLO in Mexico. Lula in Brazil. Some of the most influential leaders in this hemisphere. They condemn the Cuban embargo. They've been pressuring the United States using every single peaceful way to resist the embargo on Cuba. No avail. So based on your guys' argument, or if you guys think the Ansarullah are a terrorist because they implement a blockade, which is done in a legal fashion, as I explained, because they're resisting genocide, what kind of insane society would list those people as terrorists? The people that actually implement a blockade to pressure a terrorist country. Because, once again, how are you guys defining terrorism? By killing people? Waging war? Who waged more war than the United States and Israel? Who killed more people than Israel? Israel is normalizing the idea of targeting journalists, UN workers, and bombing hospitals. Bombing hospitals was considered the worst taboo that you can do. When the Obama administration accidentally bombed a hospital, which I never let them live down, no anti-imperialist should ever let them live down, they had to go on a global apology tour. It's something they had to acknowledge that something that was a mistake and horrible that happened. Now Israel normalized hospitals as a target of war. Meanwhile, majority of white America are cheering it on. In both parties. What's popping, my friend Didi? You know I'm gonna read some Didi comments. Nick, you made a great point about Cuba's blockade in your video. On top of that, the U.S. implemented a genocide on DPRK. DPRK Power Hour is coming back. We used to do it on Twitter back in the day, where we have these Twitter spaces just dismantling these capitalist propaganda. And Didi and me and Rome, we destroyed the propaganda that people have on DPRK. This is how brainwashed Americans are. They say North Korea is evil because they mistreat their civilians. No evidence. So because they mistreat their civilians in North Korea, we must implement sanctions to starve North Koreans. We care so much about the North Korean people and we upset about the government, how they're treating them, so we're going to starve them. Can anyone explain to me how this makes any sense? This has been, in the mass genocidal psychosis, didn't start with Palestine. You guys know there was polls and Didi, quote, give me the right number if you have it. Cause I know Didi used to talk about this all the time. You guys know there was polls done in like the mid 2000s where like 35% of Americans said we should nuke North Korea. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find the receipt on that. Let's see, nuke North Korea Americans. I remember an article that said Americans are surprisingly concerned about nuking North Korea. And if I remember the number around 30 or 40%. Of course, Google's hiding it. Of course they are. That's why I always got to find my receipts beforehand. But there was a poll where like 30% of Americans was polled, and they said, "Yeah, we should nuke North Korea." So you guys hate North Korea because how they treat their civilians, apparently. So your answer is to nuke them? Do people believe this? They don't hate North Korea because how they treat their people, with accusations they have no evidence for. They hate the North Korean people because they overthrew and rejected their system. And after North Korea rejected their system and decided to side with communism, they decided to kill millions of Koreans. The United States killed millions of Koreans, and the Americans hate the Koreans because of it. Do you guys have any idea how crazy this country is? Which is why I take pride in being an outsider. I take pride in being someone who is considered a radical. This society is crazy. I didn't finish reading that. I didn't finish reading the comment. Hold up. Didi always set me off. Nick, you made a great point about Cuba's blockade in your video. On top of that, the U.S. implemented a genocide on DPRK and then strangled DPRK with sanctions for the same crime. Yeah, I just said that. I promise you, I didn't finish reading the comment. Didi educated me a lot on this topic. I always give her a lot of credit for that. So, fantastic comment. Let's move on. If you're not careful, the media will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are being oppressed. Ask the average white American. I see right-wing populists still shit on North Korea to this day. Ask the average person why they hate North Korea. Ask the average person why they want sanctions that starve the North Korean people. They cannot tell you. Watch them say, "Oh, because the government is evil. So you want to kill their people?" That's your answer. Anyway, we're also going to get to Elise Stefanik. And I'm going to have a blog. This is a preview because this is going to be the second story I'm going to do today. There's a lot of rumors of Trump picking Elise Stefanik, who we've been covering a lot, because she is one of the most batshit members of Congress there is. She's the unhinged Zionist that is advocating for the censorship of Americans on behalf of a hostile foreign state. Claudine Gay disavowed Palestinian activism. You guys know that? The media didn't tell you that. She said that. I watched it. She said the statement by Claudine Gay was that Palestinian speech was the speech that the Zionists are upset about. That is, it's abhorrent, but we can't do anything about it. So despite the fact that Claudine Gay disavowed Palestinian activism, she still wanted to get rid of her because she didn't support censoring her students. And that's the person, and this is just a preview, we're going to cover this more in detail later. This is the person that Donald Trump is about to choose. So at RBN in our community, what we're going to call MAGA, I'm not accepting that name. And I'm going to cover this later. I'm not accepting this name. MAGA? Communism? What? What is MAGA communism? What is MAGA this? You mean MEGA? Make Israel great again? I never want to hear MAGA ever again. And we're gonna cover that later. I'm kind of spoiling my best hits here. Let's move on to back to the Yemen story. So that's gonna be my second story. How Trump sold out his movement. He did it before. And he continued to sell out America first to Israel. So guys, do not allow them to say MAGA again. Call it MEGA. It's make Israel great again. But this is the mainstream media coverage because those are my two previews. Let's get into the Houthi story. Let's see how Fox News covering it. We got a lot of coverage.
Expected to redesignate the Iranian-backed Houthis as a terrorist organization. This after the group's attacks on shipping vessels that goes unabated. And Griff Jenkins is watching that from the Pentagon. Griff, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Bill. And the Biden administration says they've been reconsidering for months their decision early on in February of 2021 for humanitarian reasons to remove the Houthis from the Foreign Terrorist Organization, or FTO, designation. Now, after 5 attacks by the Houthis in as many days on commercial ships in the Red Sea, including a U.S.-owned vessel, they're poised to put the Iran-backed rebels back on that list. But, Bill, it's not likely that...
You guys see how they keep using the term Iran-backed? What does that mean? Why don't they say that Israel is U.S.-backed? That France is a proxy state of the United States? That the UK is U.S.-linked? Germany had all their balls removed. There is no sovereignty in Germany no more. They went to the ICJ like sniveling little weasels, sucking up to the Zionist lobby because they're afraid of being called anti-Semitic because they support the Nazi party. Their grandparents supported the Nazi party. So now they got to overcompensate and support another genocide because their grandparents had the most crazy political movement that we've seen in the modern era. So because their grandparents in Germany fucked up, now they got to support genocide. So why, when we talk about Germany, why don't we call them U.S.-backed? Why don't we just steal and humiliate their sovereignty? It's the Ansarullah. They control Yemen. They control the capital. You are not telling the truth because you know you're in the wrong. Why do they have to mislead people on this? Because if they know that we was labeling a country stand up to genocide, a legitimate government, the Ansarullah government of Yemen, who's providing aid and is supported by the majority of the Yemeni people, then people will realize how that's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, let me continue because there's gonna be a lot to say. Because there's another segment I want to get to. I want to get to Mike Pompeo, someone who Trump hired, and I think they're still friendly. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. They're still friendly. And Mike Pompeo talks about this issue later and sounds just as psychopathic as you could imagine.
The full FTO designation, rather something to a lesser degree. Now, one of those options is the specially designated global terror list. It has enforcement teeth like an FTO under international law. It was used in the wake of 9/11 by the Bush administration because it can be applied very swiftly, but it can also be lifted quickly. For instance, if the Houthis were to stop their attacks in those shipping lanes in the Red Sea. Meanwhile, as Defense Secretary Austin settles into working from home after being released from that 2-week hospital stay, Fox News has obtained that audio of the January 1st 911 call requesting an ambulance for the secretary, made by an unidentified aide, requesting a low-key approach be taken.
Fairfax County 911, where is your emergency?
I'm going to skip this part because they get into some more Lloyd Austin. I'm going to show you guys the Mike Pompeo. And the mainstream media is also telling this lie, and they cover this later in this segment, where they're pretending that, oh, well, this terrorist designation is going to take about 30 days to implement because they need some time to send the aid to the people who need it. We're going to have targeted sanctions put on the Ansarullah, and we're going to still provide aid to the Yemeni people. This idea is a lie, guys. When they do this, when they put Yemen on a terrorist list, their whole country, that makes it so humanitarian organizations who want to provide aid to their people in the capital, 80% of the population, will not be able to do so. And so when they pretend that this is going to hurt the Ansarullah, they are lying. When they say these increased sanctions they are putting on Ansarullah is going to hurt them, let me ask you guys this question. Do the Ansarullah have a stock portfolio on the New York Exchange? Do you think the Ansarullah has a bank account in New York? No, the Ansarullah in Yemen has been divested from the centralized sanction system, and this is another reason why sanctions are dying. A lot of countries had divested and stopped, and it prevented the impact that it had on them. So the average person will be hurt in Yemen, but the Ansarullah, they don't have money that's really in our financial system. So these sanctions are not to hurt them, it's going to hurt the average Yemeni people. But they are not going to tell you this. I'm going to continue with Mike Pompeo. You're going to hear his unhinged take on this conversation.
And tonight, a violent and chaotic situation in the Middle East continues to get worse. 2 Navy SEALs are missing tonight after taking part in what was a critical mission to intercept a shipment of Iranian missiles headed for Yemen. Now, search and rescue operations are underway in the Gulf of Aden. Now, meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi rebels, they continue their attacks in the Red Sea, even striking an American cargo ship yesterday with a ballistic missile.
You see how they got called me? Houthi rebels, Iran back. I just want you guys to ask yourself this question when you watch this. Why can't they tell the truth? Why can't you guys just accurately describe the situation? These are the Yemen control the government, and we are opposed to them for these reasons. They can't. The reason why they had to lie is because the truth is not on their side. That's why Zionists lie so much.
And now, finally, Biden is planning to once again redesignate the Houthis as a terrorist organization. Remember, he very generously removed the terror label.
Also, you're going to see them talk about the cope of these people these Navy SEALs gone missing. There are people gone missing. They sent Navy SEALs to intercept weapons sent from Iran to the Ansarullah, and they got. What did the Ansarullah tell you, dumbasses? The Ansarullah told your dumbasses that if you come over here to the Red Sea, we're going to turn it to a graveyard. And that's what they're doing. Womp womp.
After taking office, even though they regularly committed acts of terrorism at the behest of Iran. At least Joe wasn't trying to give them billions like he was doing for the Iranian mullahs. This all comes as Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is out of the hospital after nearly 2 weeks stay. And that was not initially disclosed, by the way, to anybody. It was 8 days.
Have you guys seen this story? And I keep trying to skip this part because they keep trying to throw this in here. You guys know the Republican Party and Democratic Party foreign policy is so closely connected. They are so indistinguishable from each other. They are a uniparty that believe in the same thing. They are all Zionists. They all want war with China. They all want to support the Nazis in Ukraine. So the differences and the scandals they have to create is that Lloyd Austin got cancer. He got cancer and had to take time off work. You guys see this manufactured drama that they're creating? And you guys know I hate Lloyd Austin. He's a war criminal. And my criticism of Lloyd Austin is that he's a neocon just like Republicans. But because he's a neocon like the Republicans, they got to make up bullshit to criticize him because they have nothing to grasp. What are they going to do? Criticize Lloyd Austin for having the same policy that they will have on Israel? So the Republicans recently was criticizing the Biden administration for not putting the Houthis on the terrorist list. Then they did it. So now Sean Hannity don't have nothing left. Then Sean Hannity and the Fox News was criticizing Biden for not being strong enough in attacking the Houthis. Since then, the United States has launched multiple airstrikes illegally in Yemen. So now the right wing is scrambling. They have no criticism. So now they got to bring up, Lloyd Austin got sick. The uniparty is pathetic, and I don't understand how people don't see through the fact that they have no real criticism of each other.
Later, that Joe Biden found out he actually had cancer, or actually had a prostate problem. Anyway, here with reaction is former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. We do wish him a speedy recovery. So we were told, Great Britain and Joe Biden, they responded to the Houthi rebels. We find out later that at the most, maybe 5 people were killed. Now the Houthis are firing ballistic missiles.
We only killed 5 people and just killing little people.
At American ships, and there's no response as per usual. Your reaction?
So that's a lie. You guys see how desperate the uniparty is to push this division between the parties? And this is why I have no tolerance for the Russell Brands and the people who pretend that Trump is different. And we're going to cover this later, how Trump's going to do the same thing. You guys see how they got to pretend that there's a difference between parties? They said Biden hasn't responded. That is not true. Biden responded in an inefficient way. When they cover this later, where Biden was called out for, hey, they said, hey, you started bombing the Houthis, and you claimed that this was going to deter their attacks. And ever since you guys bombed the Houthis more, the Houthis increased their attacks. So doesn't that show that your policy is a failure? So Biden is doing the exact opposite of what Sean Hannity is saying here. So they lie so many ways, and people who still believe that there's a difference between these parties, anyone who is not in the post-duopoly camp like us and Do Dissonance and our friend Kate at Harlan's Media, who thank God has been restored on YouTube, if you're not part of the post-duopoly camp, you propping on one side over the other, you are a deeply unserious person. And we're going to get to this later with the MAGA movement, the MAGA. Well, how do you pronounce it? MAGA? Make Israel great again movement got exposed. And you guys see that Mike Pompeo, who is MAGA, is also being exposed here.
This is a problem that was a policy-driven problem. The Biden administration got this wrong from the outset. You're right. We designated the Houthis a foreign terrorist organization. They now have had to acknowledge that, whoops, these guys are really terrorists. They were firing missiles into Saudi Arabia. I remember Speaker Pelosi screaming at all of us because they wanted to try and get food and aid in there, when in fact what we needed to do was inflict a real cost on these very same Houthis that are now disrupting sea lanes, going to make food prices for Americans more expensive.
So he just called for collective punishment on the Yemenis people, because he claims, I don't believe him, but he claims that Nancy Pelosi and Democrats were like, let's get the aid into Yemen. Well, I guess that's fair, because they did lift the terrorist thing, and China is the one who brokered the peace deal between Saudi Arabia, ended the genocide here in Iran, which led to peace in Yemen. So they had to let aid get to Yemen. But Mike Pompeo and the right wing, they are arguing because they lost to the Ansarullah. Saudi Arabia and the United States lost to Ansarullah in the war. So because of that, they had to implement a blockade. You know the thing they call the Ansarullah terrorists for? Yemen is a terrorist country for blockade, but you guys lost a war against them in Yemen and lost control of the country. So you guys responded by implementing a blockade that starved tens of thousands of children in Yemen. That's the Yemen genocide that people have been covering for a long time. That was a temper tantrum because Saudi Arabia and the United States lost to the Ansarullah in Yemen. And now the same thing's about to happen. And now Mike Pompeo and the Biden administration, by putting the Houthis on the terrorist list, they want to punish the Yemenis people again because the Ansarullah checkmated the United States with this blockade. But I'll let it continue. He is calling the Ansarullah terrorists. They're calling Yemen terrorists as he advocates for a war crime, collective punishment.
They wanted to try and get food and aid in there, when in fact what we needed to do was inflict a real cost on these very same Houthis that are now disrupting sea lanes, going to make food prices for Americans more expensive. And you got it right as well. They fundamentally misunderstand this threat, whether it's the Biden administration's efforts to restrain Israel when they need to destroy Hamas, or the administration's effort to pinprick Iran when they're threatening the lives of Americans, 125 plus attacks on American interests in the Middle East. This is unacceptable. We can't let this happen. And I'm
I'll let it continue.
Praying for those two Navy SEALs. But this is precisely the kind of thing that happens, Sean, when America isn't strong and doesn't deter our adversaries.
At this point, I just think all the world's.
This thing about deterrence, using war as a way to achieve peace, is evidence that the United States is probably one of the dumbest societies that ever exists. The fact that people think this is true. So, after you guys waged war with Yemen for 7 years, after you guys sponsored a genocide against Yemen, after your offensive against Yemen, the Ansarullah in Yemen is more anti-United States than ever. The Middle East is more anti-United States than ever after the Trump administration, after the drone strike came Barack Obama, after the war in the Middle East. So that one data point, this proves your bullshit that that being aggressively strong dissuades countries. It's an unhinged ideology because what they were saying is that we are going to pass the baton, the burden of maintaining peace on people we claim are unhinged. So the right wing in America, they claim that Russia is unhinged. They claim that Iran is unhinged. They claim that China is a crazy country. But based on their foreign policy, China, Iran, and Russia are constantly forced to be the country that had to disengage. They put Iran in a position where they had to disengage because Mike Pompeo believes in max deterrence, where you put maximum pressure and then they freak out because you're so crazy, they back off, and that's how you get peace. That's peace. That's the peace through strength mantra that has dominated our mainstream society. This is the same peace of strength mantra that Trump just repeated in a CNN town hall. It's neocon ideology repeated by the MAGA movement, which is why it's absurd that people believe that MAGA is anti-war. Let's continue.
Sees as a cognitively impaired, weak, and frail president. And I've got to imagine, based on the fact that Joe never responds seemingly to any incident, that they think they have free reign. I have no doubt this year, while Joe is president, that in fact the reunification of Taiwan with China is going to occur, meaning they're going to try and take over an independent state.
How does this guy has a monetized Facebook, Instagram? Like, shouldn't his social media accounts be pulled? Because you guys know, according to NATO, you guys know, according to the UN, according to Western institutions laid out by the One China policy, Taiwan is part of China. Our country's crazy, man. I'll let it continue. Jesus Christ.
Do you disagree with me? I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong too. I don't know that they'll do it this year, but your core point, which is that our adversaries see this moment, right? They can see that President Biden is not up to the task of defending American interests. Whether it was what happened in Afghanistan, where we had 13 Americans killed, or the invasion by Vladimir Putin into Europe. These are the kind of things that happen.
Mike Pompeo, you was in charge and you was part of the instrumental process in the United States government that led to us losing to the Taliban in Afghanistan. Anyone that was in the government over the last 22 years, you have no right to criticize anyone on Afghanistan because you guys lost that war with your policies, sir.
Happen when America isn't on watch, doing the basic task of convincing our allies to defend themselves and supporting them when they do. Whether Xi Jinping will actually move on Taiwan in the next 10 or 12 months, make no mistake about it. They know that President Biden's got another year. He may only have that one more year, and they're going to do everything they can to seize the leverage and the moment to make this next administration's job even that much more difficult.
I honestly,
they really think that our fucking weak-ass military that can't beat the Taliban in Afghanistan. You guys couldn't beat farmers in Vietnam. You guys couldn't beat the Koreans, but your they, them, he, shim, fucking Gen Z army is going to defeat China, one of the largest navies we ever seen. If you're a parent and you allow your children to sign up to the military, you are one of the worst parents of all time. They're signing your children up to die. They just talk about, we had soldiers die in Afghanistan. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, we had Navy SEALs die in the Red Sea. Boo, boo, boo. Stop sending soldiers to die. We don't have warriors in this country. We have consumers. We have people that like to go to the mall. We have people that like to watch Netflix. We have people with purple hair and who don't know what. I need to calm down. You got people with purple hair. You got people that take antidepressants in this country and shit. But you guys think you can go to war with China? Sending purple hair teenagers and you're going to fight China? Why you guys think the United States won every war? We are a country full of cowards. The IDF is getting their ass beat by Hamas because the IDF is a country full of cowards. So Israel is a country full of cowards. The United States is a country full of cowards. You guys are raising suburbanites who only join the military to get free school. That's the only reason they join. Every other country, they have free schooling. China, they have free schooling. China, they have free healthcare. So the people who fight in there, they fight because they love the country. In the United States, Motherfuckers fight so they can go. Motherfuckers go to war so they can get an arts degree. Motherfuckers go to war so they can work as a programmer. You got fucking Bill Gates motherfuckers in military so they can go to Ivy League school somewhere. You got fucking Ted Cruz. You have Ron DeSantis, who was in the fucking military. These are nerds. They are not warriors. You guys think the United States military is strong? It's the most hilarious deceit I ever heard in my life. This they-them army is going to defeat China. This they-them army is going to defeat Iran and Russia. These suburbanites who can't handle a country like Israel being criticized on their campus. You guys think they can beat China? I'm having fun tonight. It's absurd. I don't want war to happen, but good guys, if you gotta go to war, it's gonna destroy the world. There is no winning between China and the United States. But if you guys try this shit, white America is going to be humbled in a way that we haven't seen since Vietnam. And if you guys think you're gonna draft our ass, you guys think you're gonna get me, Rome, and the homies to fight against China? Nope. We're gonna sit back with our popcorn and watch your ass get whooped again. Let's continue.
You know, I've never been this concerned about the economy, about what's happening in the country to American citizens, and I've never been this concerned about what's going on abroad. And if the adults like yourself are not put in charge soon, you know, I fear the very worst in, you know, a lot of parts of the world. We're now hearing about Putin's potential to go after NATO nations after he's done with Ukraine. Your thoughts on that?
Putin is not going to do that, but you guys are so moronic. He probably could if he wanted to, you know, because you guys depleted stock supplies of European weapons fighting a losing war in Ukraine. Once again, you guys' armies are weak and undisciplined and full of consumers who just want to go to school. They want this war with Russia because they see this empire dying. And then they want to sacrifice an entire generation of people before they let their empire die. Let listen to Mike Pompeo's last answer here, and then we'll move on to the Make Israel Great Again movement segment, and we're gonna have fun on that one too.
Yeah, I've said since the beginning, Putin's intentions were deeper than just Kyiv, just Ukraine. He had bigger ambitions. The Ukrainians were able to stop him with a lot of American help, so good on us for that. I know the bad guys are moving around pretty freely. We saw Chairman Kim make an announcement, said he's no longer interested in unifying with South Korea. Dangerous times, Sean.
In the other countries that are bad guys, according to these people and their boomer audience, listen to it, as our quote-unquote allies in Israel bomb hospitals and kill UN workers. But they want you to think that Ansar Allah are the bad guys and people fall for it. They want you to think that Russia is the bad guy and people fall for it. They want you to think that China is the bad guy and people fall for it. And if you guys think that I was just bullshitting earlier about the position that we are in, the United States are about to be embarrassed once again. The Biden administration is about to be embarrassed because they got into another conflict they're about to lose once again. The Biden administration is taking so many L's against the Ansar Allah. This regional war prospect has been so horrible. There's now warnings about a potential war power coalition, bipartisan war power coalition, to stop Joe Biden from engaging in this conflict with the Ansar Allah that will lead to our eventual defeat. Now I'm gonna just read a little bit of this. Obama and Ben Rhodes warned White House about potential for bipartisan war powers coalition over unauthorized conflict in Yemen. This has the potential to be one of those left-right issues that's a dangerous place to be with Congress because you can get to a bipartisan majority pretty quick. They were talking about how, if I'm reading this right, they're talking about how dangerous it is for a bipartisan consensus to stop a war from happening. Wow. Fucking wow. How long is this video clip? Actually, I watched the clip. I actually didn't watch the clip version of this. I read it. So let's watch the clip. Let's watch it. Maybe I'll get more context after hearing the tone of his voice as he described this, because when I read it, it sounds like he's upset about democracy, and bipartisanship. But I don't know. Let's see what he says.
I think what's important, what you heard from Jai, Paul, and Rokana, is there's consistency to their position. In the Trump years, there was a coalition of a lot of Democrats that opposed even the participation of the United States in the Saudi-led military intervention in Yemen because there was no authorization from Congress. And I think it's really important, whether you're talking about domestic laws relates to war powers or you're talking about foreign policy, that we can't change our positions just because the Democrat is president, you know? And I'm sure the Biden people will mount an argument rooted in some form of self-defense.
Yeah.
Chat, I need help here. Is he really making the argument I think he's making? Is he really making the argument that it's bad for Congress to check a president that is on a war path against a country we cannot defeat to defend a genocide that is massively unpopular? Am I hearing what I think I'm hearing? I told you guys I didn't hear this video. I'm asking you guys for help. If this guy telling me what I think I'm hearing, this is batshit crazy if he's saying what I think
I'm sure the Biden people will mount an argument rooted in some form of self-defense.
Yeah.
Ships are being attacked. And that, okay.
There's probably some truth to that.
Yeah. But then take it to Congress.
Right.
You know, like that is different than what was happening before. But I still think it holds that this should go to Congress. And I think what you also hear in Rokana's statement is the reason the administration should particularly do that is this has the potential to be one of those left-right issues where the left is uncomfortable with this because it's the president potentially getting us into another war. And the right, the libertarian right, is similarly uncomfortable with it because it's extreme presidential power. That's a dangerous place to be with Congress. Because
holy shit, fam. I'm glad I played the video. This guy is like, yo, there's this thing that happens when you have anti-war leftists that join with the libertarian right on principles of anti-war. And it's dangerous when they join up. Well, I just found a gem of a clip, dude. They just say the quiet part out loud. Who is this guy? This was the Obama guy, right? Holy shit. Yeah, he was Obama. He was from the Obama White House. You guys think Democrats are lesser evil? Holy shit. That's a crazy thing to say. I did not know that. I guess I was just throwing it together. I guess I didn't read it right when I first saw this receipt. That's a crazy thing to say. You have Obama liberals, the average Democrat, that they are fearful of a libertarian, left-wing, Marxist, anti-war coalition. Wow. Holy shit, man. That's a crazy-ass thing to say. And this is the policy. Now I gotta like completely change how I do this part because like this is the policy that Biden administration is following. If you guys think the Biden administration is about to lead the United States to glory and victory, you are deeply mistaken. We told you guys on the channel, these airstrikes, they did the airstrikes, they announced the airstrikes, the media celebrated and said this is a great act of deterrence. And then immediately after, occurring to the Financial Times, you had 70% increase of attack on Yemen of ships in the Red Sea. So what Biden attack did nothing but increase the attacks in Yemen. So it's not even about having successful foreign policy. This country is so crazy. They don't care if the foreign policy does what is the stated goal of stopping said conflict, stopping said blockade. The United States Americans are so brainwashed. Their answer to everything is to bomb first. Let's just bomb Iran, bomb the Houthis. Bomb these people, and then we don't care what happens afterwards. We figure it out. If you guys don't believe me, this is Joe Biden.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, if you didn't hear that, because the audio kind of weak here, he said, are the airstrikes in Yemen working? One of the few times you will ever see Biden ask a good question.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
The fuck that mean? Is my unhinged foreign policy of deterrence is actually working? No. Is it increasing military industrial complex profits? Yes. So are we going to continue? Yes. Am I paid to invoke endless conflict because that's how the United States economy grows because we are a country full of pirates and arms dealers? Yes. So the media, after the attacks on Yemen, and including the brainwashed populist right who cheers on all these fucking wars, even they were saying, oh, you have to attack the Houthis in Yemen because that would be an act of deterrence. Peace by strength is a failed strategy over and over and over again. Is shown. Like, this statement should be impeachment worthy. I saw Katie Halper. That was what she said. That was a good tweet. Let me see if I can find it. I know I retweeted it. But this is in a rational society, this would be impeachment worthy. This clip is everywhere right now. Actually, let me look on the bio tab. Let's see if I can find some good takes on this. Damn, I retweet too many people. I always try to, I got over 100,000 followers, so I always try to prop the homies up. Here it is. If y'all look at my timeline, bro, you guys see me people I retweet? Like, I don't understand these people who have like all these, they got 100,000 followers, but they like super selective on who they retweet. Like, nigga, uplift the hood, motherfucker. Goddamn. Why y'all so stingy? Anyway, should be grounds for impeachment. Well said, Katie Halper. Well said. This should be ground for impeachment. This is Ryan Grimm. And fam, we all know that Ryan Grimm is going to write books about the squad and tell people to support the Democratic Party. But I've seen Ryan Grimm show a level of disgust. I haven't seen him in a long time because of the Israel policies. He's still going to vote for him. I'm not telling you guys he's good. But Ryan Grimm recently had, on Twitter at least, had been like, bro, what the fuck? He realized that his entire ideology, a lesser to evilism, is being destroyed. His credibility, even with credibility, he supported Biden, is being destroyed. You wrote a book about Bernie Sanders. He supported this conflict. And his reaction to it is just utterly incredible. This clip has gone so viral. I almost want to see some more reactions, but you got to see even the professional managerial class realize that they fucked up real bad by pushing the lesser to evil. They still will, but they have to, like, Ryan Grimm is sounding radical because he has to make up for the fact that he wrote a book praising Bernie, the butcher, who refused to call for a ceasefire, who supported eliminating Palestinian resistance. So this is my last take on this story. We get to the Trump story. Every U.S. administration is evil and incompetent, but Biden truly takes it to the next level. Lost the Ukraine war, tanked U.S. influence in the world, oversaw the rise of BRICS, and now about to lose to the homies in Yemen. The Biden administration takes nothing but L's. But delusional Democrats like Biden, who said he would support military intervention in Taiwan because he's looking for another L. Biden looked for an L in China too. If he does that, you got to take an L there. Why aren't Americans tired of losing on the world stage? Why aren't Americans tired of being embarrassed? I'm not a patriot in the conventional sense, in the fact that I care about flag and country. I'm a patriot in the sense that I care about my neighbor. Like when I had the conversation with Jackson Hinkle asking about MAGA communism, he was talking about how he like caring about the neighbor. I'm patriot in that sense. Where I disagree with MAGA communism is like the worship of the flag and symbolism, because like George Carlin says, symbolism is for the simple-minded. So I don't like that kind of patriotism. But you can easily make the argument that I'm a patriot because I care about my community. I engage in mutual aid. You know what I mean? So, but as someone who's not a patriot in the conventional sense, I am finding this hilarious that you guys keep embarrassing yourself on the world stage, right? I don't understand how the patriots who care about the United States looking strong, how you guys are not embarrassed by constantly taking L's by the Taliban, by farmers in Vietnam, by peasants in Korea, now by the poorest country in the world, one of the poorest country in the world, and people you guys label as pirates. So what is that? I kind of went long. When was that convo with Jackson Hinkle? That was a long time ago. Jackson, one of the few people who has the balls to come on our show and debate me. You guys know I think so many YouTubers and journalists are pussy. Like they talk so much shit and then they don't debate. Like I'm one of the people that if I ever criticize you, if I ever say your name, I'm willing to debate you. And we had a critique of MAGA communism, and Jackson Hinkle came on and debated me over it. So I think it was good. That was a long time ago. So Jackson Hinkle, Craig Pasta, like a handful of people that actually got the balls to debate me. Ex-Intel chief. Actually, this is getting to the story where MIGA is born. I think that's how you say it. MIGA. I don't think it's MIGA. I think it's MIGA. MIGA. How do you guys say that shit? MIGA is born. MIGA is born. You got don't allow these people to get away with calling it MAGA. Because you gotta know the story and the rumors now is that Elise, one of the most unhinged Zionists in the world. And she's like the 4th ranking member of Congress. They're gonna say it in one of the videos. Now cover. I don't know exactly where she ranks. She's one of the most high-ranking members of Congress. How do you think you become one of the most high-ranking member of Congress at these sessions like these? Right? You do it by selling out to Israel. So Elise Stefanik is a Mitt Romney Republican. You guys know that? She was a strong Mitt Romney supporter and delegate in 2012. So you guys see what the MAGA movement is doing? The MAGA movement? And this is what my criticism was of Jackson Hinkle and Haas, and I think Haas is interesting on a lot of things, like his coverage on foreign policy. But my criticism of them is that we need clarity of the workers. We can't confuse the workers. You can't paint MAGA, a bourgeoisie, duopolist movement, as being friends of liberation and anti-imperialist movements. Yes, there are some people of MAGA are anti-war, but the MAGA is the establishment. MAGA is the Zionists. And once again, Haas and Jackson Hinkle are doing good work on Israel-Palestine. No one can deny that. So how can Jackson Hinkle, who anyone can acknowledge with 2 million followers on Twitter, he does good work on Israel-Palestine. How can you call out the Zionists in Washington while at the same time pretending that MAGA is anti-establishment? This is a criticism for MAGA communism that is devastating, and they've never been able to answer. I asked Jackson to his face about these contradictions. He wasn't able to answer them. So MAGA is part of this movement to rehabilitate neocon swamp monsters. Who did Trump hire? Mike Pompeo, Steve Mnuchin, John Bolton? And Jackson and other MAGA communists are confusing the workers. Remember, in the year 2024, we need clarity, fam. We need clarity. We need to be clear and concise with the language we use. We cannot say MAGA communism. We can't say shit that confuses people. We got to be concise. We can't promote anti-intellectualism. We can't promote the duopoly. We got to promote independent thinking that is about the rationale of destroying the Israel movement, the Zionist movement, the capitalist movement that MAGA loves. Haas went on Tim Pool and tried to sell MAGA communism. They did not like it. and I told Jackson, I'm like, bro, you guys think that MAGA communism is gonna be appealing to Trumpers? They went on Tim Pool and they hate the guy. I don't want to rub salt in the wound though. Just once again, we try to tell them. So this is the MAGA movement that people believe is anti-establishment. She is rumored. Elise Stefanik is rumored to be on the short list of Trump's presidency. Trump even said she's a killer. And this is why she went viral. And this is her most unhinged moment that made her famous, where she essentially calling for the censorship of anyone calling for the liberation of the Palestinian people.
At Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, targeted at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do
you guys realize that we have a Mossad agent in Congress and she's one of the highest ranking members of Congress? This is a Mossad agent spreading this lie that the gray zone, and we covered this, the gray zone exposed how this whole anti-Semitism, the rise of anti-Semitism was planted by the Mossad, former agents of the Mossad and people in the media figures who helped spread this. And when asked, and I seen Bree on the Hill, Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, we've been asking, show us the evidence of group of students, of group of Palestinians chanting that Jews must die, chanting for the genocide of Jews. They have no evidence that that happened. And in fact, Stop Anti-Semitism and the ADL, they documented anti-Semitic incidents, and around 60% of their quote-unquote anti-Semitic incidents was people just chanting from the river to the sea, free Palestine and that stuff. That they have that much. Hey kid, I'm down to have you on if you're down, but you know that's what I say. We got Harlan's Media back, bro. What's popping, brother? I don't know if it's too last second. Let me know in the chat if you down to join. I don't got that much time though. Maybe I gotta have Kid on Saturday. Kid, man, I gotta have Kid on. I just had Kid on Thursday, so 100%, Kid's gonna be on here very soon. So I think he said short day. I'm gonna send you a link. You can join if you want to. If not, yeah, he said send the link. Let's go. Let's fucking go, fam. Let's go. If you guys don't know, I'm gonna have Noah from Midwestern Marks join me on Saturday. My brother Nico House will be joining us next week. Comrade Misty come back on Tuesday. You understand? We got bangers on Nick at Night. Make sure you guys subscribe, fam. Make sure you guys subscribe and support Nick at Night every Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, and Saturday, right? Let me send this link to my homie. I would love to hear his thoughts. Harlan's Media. Let's get him in here. Let's continue this video. I know you guys seen this video, but I gotta show you guys. This is the person that MAGA is propping up, that Trump wants to support. And before I finish that video, as you know, I'll save my tweet thread for later. This is Trump's quote. She's a killer. Trump eyes Elise Stefanik as potential VP pick. And think about this. Why are they choosing her? You have many Republicans on Twitter, a lot of like populist right people. They are begging Trump to pick Vivek Ramaswamy for vice president. I seen who was it? Some person just said that they would endorse Trump if Vivek was the vice president. I'm like, hard no, bro. It's someone I like. It's someone I like, but it was like, yeah, I would support Trump. I'm like, dude. But anyway, the point is, there is grassroots support for Vivek for vice president. But why is Vivek not becoming vice president? Because MAGA or MEGA is playing identity politics. So Trump has said many times that he want to pick a woman vice president to counteract Kamala Harris, the woman vice president in the Democratic Party, and having Elise Stefanik, a hardcore Zionist white woman. I don't know if she's Jewish. I literally don't know, because majority of Zionists in our country are Christians. That's why Zionists are mad. I'm like, Nick, they be so mad because I don't say Jews. They're like, Nick, say Jews. You know you want to say Jews. I'm like, no, I don't mean Jews. I say Zionists because I mean the majority of the Christians in this country support Israel. If you say Jews, like a lot of dumbasses on the, some dumbasses say, you're implying that Christians are not Zionists. So you say Zionists because not all Jews are Zionists, and most Christians are Zionists in this country. So I have no idea if Elise Stefanik is Jewish or not. I literally don't. Maybe I should look it up. She may be one of these Christian Zionists. So Trump won a woman Zionist candidate. That's identity politics, fam. And why don't people see that? Why don't people see this? Russell Brand, Jackson, all these people probably MAGA. They condemn identity politics unless the Republicans do it. Trump was very open about that. Yeah, I don't think she's Jewish either. I see someone. I don't think she's Jewish. I think she's just a Christian traitor of this country, Mossad agent. So let's get back and show you guys how she is doing the job of Zionists to implement their fascist ideology in our country. And kid, I see in the background. I'm gonna play this clip, and I'm gonna introduce you, brother. But her job is to import the fascist ideology of Israel In Israel, they don't have free speech. Israel is an apartheid state. Israel has millions of Palestinians that live in their state that are not allowed to tweet about Gaza. So once again, if you guys think Israel is a democracy, how can you have a democracy when people don't have free speech? Please explain that to me. Please explain that to me, you morons. So let's watch this video and we can continue.
And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish.
So what Claudine Gay says here is quoting the First Amendment. We watched the entire media apparatus show this part, and Claudine Gay, who disavowed Palestinian activism, essentially said that, hey, man, I know people say fucked up thing, but it depends on the context. As long as your words don't lead to action, technically you can say whatever you want, man. Guys, that's the First Amendment, MAGA, you morons. Zionists are fucking absurd. The First Amendment claims that is based, if you're not calling, and once again, there's no evidence that people call for the genocide of people. They call for the liberation of Palestinians. But she is trying to use the words are violent psyop. That's the same argument that liberals use to silence people. Actually, I want to get my guest in here. I'll continue this clip. I actually want to get Kid in here before we continue this.
Hey,
What's poppin'? We got our boy Kid from Harlem.
I'm out of jail. I'm out of jail.
You out of jail. Yeah, we fucking did it, fam. I don't know what we did, but I'm in a hype mood.
I'm so happy, man. I gotta tell you, the
too.
audience, everybody, our allies. I make you this promise: if anyone's ever in my situation, I'll be more than happy to help out people any which way I can. Advice. Fight's far from over. I can't say too much more, but it feels so good to be out of jail. But oh my goodness, the Zionists and everyone else want total war. So I'm gone for like 3 weeks, and everyone's trying to push for World War III. Why?
The worst time to be gone too.
Yeah, exactly, man. Come on, man. But I hope you guys listen. I saw you guys on the Jimmy Dore show, and first of all, listen, do dissidents, and you guys really killed it, especially in regards to talk about mutual aid. Because even though we are on the precipice of ongoing war, we got Nikki Haley saying if Israel loses, then Ukraine loses, and if Ukraine loses, then Taiwan loses. Then we got war in Yemen, and then it's unending war. I mean, how many more people need to die? How many more people need to be exterminated for this endless machine that wants to profit off of human suffering? And yet we have politicians, both Democrat and Republican, that want to push along for it and have our unending extinction. Because once those nukes drop, Nick, all this that we see here, cell phones, computers, the stuff we have, that's never coming back. And anything that remains of human civilization, like, it'll be a shadow of what we once were, and the survivors will envy the dead. It has to stop here, because if it doesn't stop, there's a point of no return. And this is why we need independent media, because we have a corporate media that won't acknowledge the fact that our politicians are leading us to war. We got old people leading us to the extinction, and when they die, we're going to be left to inherit their mess.
That's why I've been telling people that this country is not as great as people think it is. Like, this country is actually a joke. Like, if this country was so great, if people were so happy, which they are not, for one, why would they be forced to take so many pills? For one, I know you guys hate when I say that, but it's true. For one. Secondly, if you guys are so happy, why are they so willing to risk it all? Why are they so willing to go to war? Why are they so willing to send their children and their cousins to war? In the mainstream America as a whole are feverish towards war. They constantly want war. If we was in a happy society, why do you guys want to throw it away, risking for a nuclear war? And I have a very unofficial theory. I may flesh this out in Substack one day. That one of the reasons why America is a war-mongering country is because there's like this anxiety that many people in white America have, because they know they got a lot of stolen wealth. So they feel like they are constantly attacking other people to defend what they have. They constantly feel this angst and anxiety that they're this strong superpower that commit war crimes. They got to stay on the offensive. So anyway, can you chime in? We get back to the story.
Yeah. Just real quick. I want to chime in, like, probably why America kind of could be as it is, because let me mute my phone. I'm sorry about that. It buzzed off. I should have muted it. But, if we look at the founding of the country, we have to look at who was sent here and why. Because remember, like, everyone talks about the Pilgrims, right? Well, the Pilgrims weren't these great peaceful people. They were the Puritans, and they had a civil war in England in which the Puritans did get control, and you couldn't drink. Prostitution was illegal. You couldn't enjoy Shakespeare of all things. Like, you couldn't be happy. Hell, those Puritans were the ones who canceled Christmas. Okay. And these people really believed in the Bible. When they came here to this country, they brought that puritanical logic here, which is work, and get closer to God. But the thing is, you can't put on this false notion of being so good and holier than thou, because we're not designed that way. And because of that, you have abuse. You have people who become sick in the head. You have people become secret alcoholics. And to quote Jimmy Dore, we are a country, we are the children of alcoholics. And this country has had a problem of getting people who were, cast out from society, who were aggressive, who were, the lower tier. And unfortunately, while we have this romanticized version of the Republic, and I get it, it's okay to have the mythology of it. It's okay, I guess, maybe if it helps you sleep at night, but we have to look at overall the mindset of people. And that is, everybody who came here got screwed. The only people who gained anything were the people who had the money and the power to trick everyone to hate each other. Everyone looks at Trump as the guy who's Hitler 2.0, but does anyone acknowledge the previous U.S. presidents that signed the death order of Native American tribes and the genocide of Native people here? Or either that were presidents and presided over a country in which Black people were considered 3/5 of a person and were slaves. Women couldn't vote. I mean, Trump, he could be made into the villain, but we've had presidents who have done far worse. And, I joke about this on the show, but on Hardlands Media, but, during the Nuremberg trials, when the American, lawyers are confronting the German Third Reich, like, where did you learn how to put people in concentration camps? It's sort of like saying to your kid, like, where'd you learn to smoke? I learned it from you, because of German SS. Some German SS officers, we learned it from how you Americans handled the Native American question. So in other words, there is a long, sad history of abuse in this country, and we are all victims of it. And we see it in our society to this day. Look at how so many people are stuck on pills and drugs and alcohol. And
I don't give a fuck what anyone say, bro. That shit's not normal, bro. I got in trouble.
Yeah.
I got canceled by big pharma simps on Twitter. People get upset at me when I say it. Like, bro, this whole bullshit about brains being broken, I don't fucking buy it, bro. Like, this shit, like, the amount of people on antidepressants, and I'm not underselling your depression. That is never the point of these rants. Your depression is real, but they're lying to you about the cause. The society is rotten, and it's destroying people's mental health. And in order to cover for that fact, they are lying to people and telling them that they have mental illness and their brains are broken. Your brain is reacting to this very unnatural and toxic society that we live in. People working fucking 50, 60 hours a week, commuting 10 to 12 hours a week. You are a fucking insignificant office wage slave. And then your brain is trying to reconcile what the fuck happened. I'm supposed to be picking berries. I'm supposed to be exercising. I'm supposed to be hanging out with my family. I'm supposed to be engaged in activities. I'm supposed to be increasing my skills. But you live in a fucking office pushing numbers all goddamn day. I was ready to blow my goddamn head out when I did the same thing when in my early 20s. I used to be an accounting aide. I was ready to blow my goddamn head out. And people think, oh, you're depressed because you don't like it. No, they put you on pills so you can calm the fuck down and get to work. And people get upset at me for saying this. But sorry, I know you want to chime in.
No, because it's been a while. It feels so good to be back on Hardlands and just doing all this other stuff. But when I look at society, because when I worked at retail too, because there were points where I was like, what am I doing? Is this the rest of my life? And the thing is, there's a lot of Americans thinking that way, and it's not wrong to think this way. Like, is this living? And it's not. This is not living. And the way society's going, if it continues this way, only millennials, because after boomers and Gen X go, only millennials and early stage Gen Z will remember a time when people could own a home or could go on vacation. All right. And I'm being generous with this because even now, millennials, can we go on vacation? Can Gen Z go on vacation? The answer is no. Even Gen X and boomers can't anymore. And so when you look at the society and how it's starting to fracture and fall apart, and they're trying to sell you pills, I'm glad that you brought that up, because look at how they sell the pills too. There's this happy-go-lucky music, but then they tell you the side effects. Oh, will cause erectile dysfunction. Will cause psychosis. Will cause you to vomit at night. And I'm like,
I know
wait a
someone who
minute.
told me. I know a close female friend. I'll let you continue. But I know a close female friend that told me that antidepressants fucks her menstrual cycles up. It fucks her sexuality up. Like she's not willing to engage in sexual activity once you're on antidepressants. So this was like years ago. She told me how she had to make this sacrifice. She like, do I live depressed and unhappy for a large part of my life, but I can enjoy some fleeting joy, or do I take antidepressants, mute the large amount of depression, but I can't enjoy shit? And I still remember that one conversation years ago that like planted the first seeds. That I was like, bro, what? This is crazy. They had to make a choice. She had to choose between her sexuality and mental health. And it's like, that's fucked, man. But go ahead, Kat.
Look, I'm going to speak for myself, but when it comes down to your body, look, we're born with our bodies and then we die, because let's face it, we're all going to die someday, right? I do not trust a pill or any kind of antidepressant to save the day, because at the end of the day, we have to find our own peace. And these pills, what they are is just like a placebo to numb the pain. It doesn't make it go away. And unfortunately, look, I have pain. I miss my grandfather. I miss him. I miss my advisor. I have another family member who's very sick too. And, death is the high cost of living. And that pain stays. Yes, the scar does heal, but the pain does remain. And I think each of us has to figure it out in our own way. But I don't after everything that I've covered on my show, after everything I've seen on your show or Jimmy's show or on INN or Due Dissidence, it's like when you look at Big Pharma, it's there to keep us like sheep, lobotomized sheep who don't question anything, and knowing that same thing, like institutions like Johnson & Johnson sold, Oxy, and all this other stuff to the American people. No, I don't trust these pills.
They feed you poison and they like, hey, yo, we got a very costly answer to this. You know what I mean? And I'm very careful when I talk about this. I am not judgmental of people on antidepressants. I'm not at all. Make the decision that is best for you in your life. But I never took that shit ever. I definitely qualified for that shit. Probably still do. I definitely qualified for them. And I was like, nah. It's like, to me, it don't make sense. But I'm not going to be judgmental. I understand people go through a lot. People probably need it. There are probably people that have legitimate mental health problems that need it.
And
but I think my thesis is that it's over. Like, a lot of these people are being lied to. Like, it's just a fucking fact. Like, there's studies, and there's a lot of people that, and this is my life. This is I still work on. I'm gaining a lot of weight during COVID. And like, when you gain weight, when you're not as active, you become more depressed. And when I started boxing again, I told you guys like a few months ago. I stopped because of Blizzard. The weather fucked up. I got heavy back. So I feel depressed and I start boxing again because martial arts is my calling. Like, that's my calling in life is learning martial arts, learning how to better myself athletically. When I went away from that, I was depressed. That was during the COVID era. This is when I gained a bunch of weight. I was depressed. Soon as I started working out again, I lost about 10 pounds. Like, my weight blew up. I lost that 10 pounds. Now I'm feeling mentally better already. Already just dropping 10 pounds. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that alone will cause your depression, but people would like just take pills without doing any other fucking trials. Like, if you change your regimen, if you eat healthier, if you engage in exercise, if you develop good social relationships, if you do all this stuff and you're still depressed, then yeah, there's probably something wrong. You need to check that out. But the first thing, people be obese, they eating Doritos all day. You have to know unhealthy food fucks your mental health up too. People be doing all this horrible thing. The first thing they go to is pills. They want me to buy it. But anyway, yeah, I want to get to the last story. I actually got a little bit left here. Ken, anything else you want to chime in on before I move on? We do part 2 of the Trump story.
Personally, look, Nick, it just feels so good to be out of jail. Out
Yeah,
of prison. Not 9 times, man. 9 times I've been dealing with this. I'm the most censored man on YouTube.
You are. Man, dude, Harlan's like the shit you guys go through terrifies me. They already shadow banned us. We confirmed that.
Yeah.
But when you guys see what happened in Harlan's men, you guys know that anything fucking possible.
Look, I'm gonna buy like a WCW World Heavyweight Championship belt on Amazon. I'm just gonna one day just have it on the show. Be like, hey, I'm the champion, man. Come at me 9 times. 9 times. Come on.
I'm gonna read super chats. That let me know that we get into part 2. Because these Nick Night shows not gonna be the marathons that the Post Duopoly show used to be. I plan on keeping these around 60, 90 minutes. We already went a little bit long, which I am not mad at all because we got our good friend Kit here. So we're gonna wrap up the Trump Elise Stefanik story, and then I will be back on Saturday. And our good friend Noah from Midwestern Marks to join us. You guys see, we getting banger after banger. After banger, after banger, after banger on Nick at Night. You guys better look out for Tuesday and Thursday evening.
Mm-hmm.
You guys like,
as they should.
They're like, Nick, but Savvy streams at this time. I'm like, so what the fucking replay? The fuck y'all talking about? You guys know this shit's gonna be live Tuesday and Thursday evening. Wake up Friday morning and watch this. I don't care if you watch this live or in the replay. The fact that Savvy streams the same time of this show is not an excuse. Make sure you got to tune in, whether it be Thursday evening or Friday morning. And also Harlan's Media do show in the morning. I don't know if you got
9 a.m. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Central. So tune in in the morning.
If you're not a night owl like me and a lot of my friends, don't watch it. Don't watch Nick at Night. Watch Kid in the morning live. Then after you get done watching Kid, you can watch Nick at Night, the replay. Our people in our community working class. Most people watch the replay. That's just the reality. So I'm having a lot of fun with this new show, man. I wasn't worried. I was concerned because I haven't had my own show, and actually in a long time because I had Nick and CJ. I did a lot of series collaborations. I haven't had like my own show since like my YouTube channel. And I stopped my YouTube channel a long time ago because I focused on RBN. It's very fun, man. It's very, very fun. Great to have my friends on. And my focus is to have people I view as extremely slept on these shows. You guys see I had Blue Moon Red Wine, Lucy, who was extremely slept on. She's the person who cussed out AOC in Spanish. And
love it. As she should. As she should.
We had a Saul Rodon who does amazing anti-imperialist work. So Nick at Night, we're gonna have people who slept on. Noah from Midwestern Market, they're gonna join us tomorrow. I'm very excited about this show, and I'm glad that you guys enjoying it. Thank you for $2, Aaron. What one book do you suggest the working class to read? State and Revolution. If y'all read State and Revolution, you don't hear that bullshit you heard from Ola Yemi and Conscious Lee. State and Revolution. Remember that video we just did, fam, over Ola Yemi and Conscious Lee? They pretty much came out hard. Kid, if you haven't seen it, they came out like, this is why we got vote blue in 2024. And they literally said, oh, you probably haven't seen it. They literally said, and they were talking about us without saying our name. They said these people who quote revolution are parasitic and they're violent. And I'm like, bro, if you guys read State and Revolution, that book completely destroys them. In fact, I'm about to read through it again here soon because it was a while ago. I feel like that's a book you got to read every few years because you got to remember that them arguments. They lay out the Marxist theory of change, destroy other theories of change that come from social democrats, and use historical examples why it don't work. State and Revolution was like one of the first books I read that got me into Marxism. And when I read State and Revolution, I was like, and I tell you guys this all the time, I knew I was a Marxist. And if you don't want to do labels, that's fine. But you're a Marxist probably. I realized I was a Marxist because I read State and Revolution. I'm like, nigga, this shit is fucking on point. On point. So that's my book. Kit, you have a book you recommend? That's mine.
I have a couple of books here. I'm looking at them right near. But there's one book that keeps on resonating with me, and I've been rereading it. It's called Guns, Germs, and Steel. I can't recommend it enough. So let me get you guys the name of the author real quick. So Guns, Germs, and Steel. It's just, because I've been listening more to the Fall of Civilization podcast, and it's been just a fantastic read. But it's written by Jared Diamond. It's talking about like overall how society, human societies, and overall how we have transformed ourselves into what we are today. So look, I don't want to spoil too much, but Guns, Germs, and Steel, check it out. And if there's any channel that you want to check out that will inform you about the fall of empires, that will resonate to what the times we're living in, Fall of Civilization podcast, please check it out. Phenomenal work in detail. But one video in particular that shows us that maybe there's hope on how to survive, it's the one on Easter Isle. The people of Easter Island did not starve themselves. They didn't destroy their society. They didn't consume. The people of Easter Isle actually built a very prosperous society. And I'm just going to say this, and it's not going to sound crazy, but you know, those giant Moa heads, those stone heads, they walked. And that's all I'm going to say. They walked.
Yeah,
they walked.
So thank you for the super chat, Aaron. I'm gonna read this last super chat, and we'll do part 2. This is pretty much part 2 because I cut that segment in half, so we do part 2. The MEGA movement that's developing, Make Israel Great Again movement. Then for $5 Maddow, looking for tips on doing mutual aid, practical examples, readings, theory, and any wisdom you can share. Or maybe I'll just dig through RBN Archive. I think we have a reading list on our website. When it comes to mutual aid, for one, look into local possible mutual aid organizations in your area. And I say this because if you don't have experience, it's good to probably watch a few. Like, I was very lucky and blessed, fam. Like at RBN, like we have Rome. Like I learned how to form a mutual aid organization just watching and being around Rome. Rome gave me a lot of hints and tricks. The fact that I met Rome helped my organizing out a lot. So if you can meet,
and shout out to Rome, shout out to Rome because he actually sent me a message saying like, hey, what happened to you guys is wrong. Like when we were like terminated, like when we were censored and we couldn't upload. And he even sent a follow-up message like, hey, what is going on? Because this isn't right. So I know Rome had his birthday. So Rome, I hope you had a great time on your birthday, and your words really meant a lot to us. So hope to have you on the show sometime, you know, so whatever. I mean, hey, maybe you can reach out to Nick because we would love to have him on.
Yeah, that definitely has to happen. So if you can, and also once you like get the hang of mutual aid, maybe once you go to an event or so, and this is what I'm focused on. I'm focused on building my own organization in Kansas City. You can do your own stuff. Like if you don't have a big thriving mutual aid community, it starts with you and your community. So you talk to your friends, you talk to your family, you talk to your neighbors, you provide mutual aid for them, you get them on your calls, and then you get them to help you. Because that would happen with me. I had my brother who helped me. Because my brother, like, bro, this shit dope. I can't believe you're doing this shit, bro. Like we never imagined doing shit like that. We were feeding the homeless. My brother was excited to help. Was excited. We came out, he still talks about it to this day. We were feeding the homeless. Me and Rome, we came out there barbecue excited. So your friends and your family will help you once you start doing this stuff. Start small, start slow. Don't think you're gonna be Fred Hampton. People gonna throw the weight of the world at you, like RBN. Like people like RBN, you think you're revolutionary? He's like, no, nigga, we just doing one step at a time. That's what you do, one step at a time.
One step at a time,
and do what you can do better. I'm trying my best to give a really thoughtful answer. I know it's really hard. This is a hard answer, a hard question. Like look for tips, but you can't put the pressure of the world on you. And we've been through this. Like RBN members have been through this. Like where we put the burden on ourselves. Like we the Fred Hampton leftists. Nigga, we gotta fucking overthrow the government tomorrow. Like no, nigga, we gotta just do the work, slow, grow our organization, radicalize people one community at a time. We gotta be very scientific about it. And that's what I would suggest anyone do. Like don't put too much pressure on yourself. Do the work, learn, do the work, and it will come along. That's my best advice. Let me move on to the last one here, and then we gotta get to the story just for the sake of time. They were $5 SB. Bring back Haas. Yeah, I'm down. I'm always down to talk to Haas. I had Haas on, and people were pissed because I know Haas is very socially conservative, like very open about it. But I live in Missouri, fam. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I want to talk to people who are socially conservative. That's just the reality. I'm done playing with you people. There are people who live in like the East Coast and West Coast who they are allowed to only be around socially liberal people. So they cancel people who are socially conservative. And they also hate people who talk to people socially conservative. I remember I had Haas on, and the amount of hate I got, bro. I was like, nigga, am I responsible for all this motherfuckers takes? Do you guys know, and I'm sorry to go on a side rant here. Do you guys know how many evangelical Christians support Lula in Brazil? And I'm talking about Christians who are against abortion, Christians who are against gay marriage, but Lula formed a coalition with these people to pass left-wing socialist policy. So according to many Western leftists, like the same people who like never have a conversation with like Haas, for example, they will quickly cancel the average like socialist in the global South. Like social liberal policy, I agree with. I largely agree with socially liberal policies. But people need to understand that these are minority positions in like the global South, in Africa, and there's a lot of criticism of Americans are pushing cultural imperialism. We gotta understand that people who are engaged in the fight against capitalism, imperialism, we're gonna come from different cultures. There are gonna be a lot of people who are hyper religious, and I apologize, Haas, if I misspeak here, but I believe Haas is really religious, which leads to his very socially conservative positions. If you guys are just gonna cast all those people aside, we're never gonna have a movement. That's my position, and I'm sorry that made people upset. And that's why I wanted to have conversations with Haas, who we disagree with a lot. We disagree on some of that stuff a lot. But we had a show, I had him on a few months ago, maybe like a year ago or so. We talked about Ukraine. It was a good time. I'm like, man, this guy's smart. We don't agree on anything, but he's definitely smart. But I really do need to move on. Anything you want to add, Kick? I know I'm ranting here. I'll finish super chat here and I'll pass to you. To clear up any, go ahead.
So one thing, look, people are not the same. You're always going to run into people who are different, who will think different than you. And look, you're not going to change everyone's mind, but it's important to see how other people think and their perspectives, because in the long run, if we can communicate, then maybe we can build a better future. All right. And that's all I can say. I'm not making a promise that things will be rainbows and sunshines, but try and talk to people and see what can happen. You'll be surprised of how much you can build. All right. That's all I can say on that. Because I spoke to a lot of conservatives who were upset what happened to us. And they were like saying like, hey, I don't agree with you, kid. I think you're a communist. And I'm not a full-blown communist. But people, I had some Trumpers say it to me, but it's like, what happened to your channel is wrong.
Yeah.
And I want to fight for you guys. So, it is what it is.
I'm not. So I didn't finish the super chat, but I was just bringing, because if you guys don't remember, when I did have Haas on, I still remember the backlash I got from that. I'm like, bro, I'm done with these people. Like, I don't even try to appeal to these fucking morons no more. Bring back on Haas to clear up any confusion on MAGA communism. It's about going past Trump and making MAGA a working class anti-imperialist movement. I move on because just for a second time. I have Haas on. I don't want to straw man them, but I think like we shouldn't be looking for like there's working class people who are ready to overthrow the system who are not part of the duopoly. And those are the people we should be aiming at. And once again, I had Jackson on to talk about this, and I'm always willing to, like, you guys know, I'm down to have conversations with anyone, from fun conversations with Kid, my friends, my brothers, to friendly debates with Pods, or screaming matches like I had with Destiny and Vosh. I'm down for whatever. But anyway, I want to quickly do the story. I know we went sidetracked, but this is Nick and Night. This is what we do. I'm more interested in having conversation and educating more than anything. So this is part 2 of the Trump Elise Stefanik story. So I'm actually going to take it in a different angle, and we get back to the video. I'm going to get back to that video. I know you guys seen it, but it's very important because I want you guys to understand that Elise Stefanik is an agent of Zionism. And I've seen people in chat that say she's Catholic. They inform me that she's Catholic, which is why I use the term Zionist. Don't ever use the term Jew. There are like the Jake Shields. Like Jake Shields is one of them. These populist right people who are getting the Israel-Palestine issue, but they're actually just white supremacists who are like just attacking Jews. No, don't you ever use the term Jews. Say Zionists, because Christians are Zionists. So if you say the Jews, you're not even being accurate, because that means you're excluding the Christians who support Zionism, right? So that's something I implore. This is another example how MAGA, honestly, and once again, I'm about clarity. I've been having fun with the "Make Israel Great Again" slogan. Once again, that's a bit, but it always been that. Like, once again, we're gonna be about clarity. It's always been the MAGA movement. Trump has always been a warmonger. The only reason why we are not at war with Iran is because Iran showed a massive amount of restraint after the United States killed General Soleimani, and you know that Donald Trump killed Soleimani, which could have started a regional war. He killed him under orders of Israel. Make America great. So
he's not free. So he's not his own person. Nope. Trump, come on, man. Where's your backbone, baby?
Nope. So all the people who think that this is a populist movement of working class people, nope, your boy is working for a foreign country. And you guys think, like, when Trump get in office, he's going to do everything that Netanyahu wants them to do. Because Trump is an entertainer. He's a great socialite, very charismatic. So that's will be his role in office. He will be the charismatic messenger of Zionism. And in the back, you will have the Israeli lobby and all the Zionists that will be hired in the staff that will be making all the decisions. And a lot of these decisions he probably not even gonna know about. He's gonna be like, nigga, I'm anti-war, man. He probably, to be honest, dude, he probably don't fucking know. His job is just to be the reality TV president. He like, man, personally, I'm not trying to start no wars. I ain't trying to start no strikes. Meanwhile, his cabinet just fucking striking it up. Just fucking people up. I can easily see that interpretation.
I'm really glad you brought that up here, because I do have to wonder if Trump, because here's the thing, when Trump first got into office in 2016, he picked a lot of people from the Bush-Cheney administration. And
like I said, I don't know if you watched it earlier, but I said that he rehabilitated a lot of Bush-era neocons. But let's continue. That's exactly what Michael did. But you continue. Kid.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so the thing is, like, probably when all of them got into office, they thought it would be like business as usual with Bush listening to Cheney, like Pence being in control and Trump listening to Pence. But that was not the case. And I do have to wonder, though, how much agency Trump's going to have this time around and who he will pick, because there's going to be people who are fanatics who have their own opinions but loyal to Trump. I'm wondering what that potential presidency would look like should he win the general election, because I'm wondering if he learned from his mistakes or he'll just make them over again, which would be interesting to see.
Dude, I seen a ton of MAGA people, because there was a rumor that Trump was gonna pick Nikki Haley, and I didn't believe it for 1 second. But it was, I think
that'd be the dumbest decision he'd ever do.
Yep, yeah. So I love your first reaction, kid, because that story. I know how politics work, fam. You guys know how that story came about. The Trump people are thinking about VP picks, so the Trump people they float these stories out there to gauge reaction. That's how this works. They say so they have a list of VP, and they're like, all right, let's see how the media reaction will
okay.
be. So then you have a Trump staffer that leaks that they considering someone. So that's how the story starts. So the story started how the Trump people thinking about Nikki Haley, and then once that story broke, bro, MAGA on Twitter lost their fucking mind. This is the first time I've ever seen. I have never ever seen people in MAGA say they will never support Trump. It's the first time I've ever seen like hardcore Trump people say, if Trump picked Nikki Haley, they will not vote for him.
Look.
I've seen a ton of accounts. Sorry if I don't got receipts. I apologize. We're doing this ad lib. But I promise you guys, believe me, there was a ton of MAGA accounts. I was like, bro, if Trump picked Nikki Haley, we are done. My question is, I'll pass to you, Kick. I know you want to chime in. Will they do that with Elise Stefanik? But go ahead.
Well, here's the thing with Nikki. And look, I'm going to be very careful with my words here. But look, when Nikki Haley was struggling to talk about why the Civil War happened, and Trump, when he gives his response, it was because slavery. When Trump outmaneuvers you and says the correct reason why the Civil War happened, Jesus Christ, Trump, listen, in the off chance you watch Revolutionary Blackout Network or Heartlands Media, don't pick Nikki. That's not her name, Haley, because that's not her name. Don't do it, okay? You get a freebie from me and Nick. Don't do it, okay? We're not going to vote for you because I'm not Republican and I'm not a Democrat, and neither is Nick. But don't do it, Trump, okay? If you got any respect for yourself, don't you dare pick Nikki Haley, okay?
Dude, there's a lot of evidence that the Trump administration is about to be swampy as fuck, fam. Because I know how politics work. I've been following it for a while. These stories come out because a Trump person leaks it to the media. So this tells me that Trump is just going to enjoy the act of being president again. This is how the swamp took over last time. So Trump is going to enjoy the act of being president. He's going to tell his supporters a fiction. And then he's going to allow these consultants, because what happened is there was a consultant that was like, hey, I think it would be a decent idea to pick Nikki Haley to get these moderate Republicans and Democrats on your side to show you want to throw an olive branch, and also you can get an Indian woman on ticket. There was a consultant in the fucking room that gave the Trump campaign a dumbass advice that was lead them to float this idea, and then MAGA on Twitter completely rejected it, and now they're like, yeah, there's no way that's going to happen. The Trump team came out after that like, yeah, there's no way we have Nikki Haley as vice president, because they do this all the time. They do these beta tests to see how people will react. So anyway, that's the Nikki Haley thing. I wonder if because they should have the same reaction to Elise Stefanik. I'm gonna get to this because I always showed you guys the receipt. Here's another one. I'll just read the headline. There's so many receipts on how Israel played a major role in the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, showing you guys that Trump has no intention on being sovereign to regarding the decisions of Israel. And now we have. I'll read my tweet thread and then I'll play the video again. Once again, I'm doing a little slightly different order. I'll just read my thread because we gotta wrap up here soon. There are reports that Donald Trump is considering picking unhinged, anti-free speech Zionist Elise Stefanik as his vice president. Elise Stefanik is a hostile foreign agent that wants to crack down on the free speech of people who criticize the country who she truly works for. She claimed calling for, and I'm gonna show you guys the clip again. She claims calling for the liberation of the Palestinians is genocide and wants to censor anyone who advocates for it. And Elise Stefanik, watch this video. She is the number one example of a Karen. She is Karen extraordinaire. Like, if I was to pick out what a Karen is, it is Elise Stefanik. Elise Stefanik is a Karen that pushes the words are violent bullshit. Kid, where have you heard that? The whole
I heard that from AOC.
So remember, MAGA and the right wing sell their agenda differently. They will never say that, kid. But they will say chanting from the river to the sea is genocide. There's no difference between those positions, fam. If you believe that people chanting from the river to the sea is genocide, your position is wars is violence. You are no different from AOC. You guys understand? Now let me continue this. After years of pretending they care about free speech, the MAGA movement is about to throw it away for Israel in their shows like Stefanik. The American First movement is a joke. And I explained before, I had a lot of fun dragging Biden, and I have. And this is why I was explaining this tweet. During the Biden, this is how I work, fam. People are like, why you like to Biden so much? Because Biden's the fucking president. Our being existent only when there's a Democrat president. And MAGA's like, nigga, this nigga Nick is cool as fuck. This nigga Nick always did the Democrats. Wait until Trump wins, and he will. Wait, I can't wait to see the reaction of the MAGA people that follow me when Trump wins. Because you guys know who I'm going to go after? Biden is about to be over. It was fun. We had a fun time, didn't we, kid? Dragging Biden and the Democrats was very fun.
You know what?
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. In 2020, I was kind of preparing myself for a Trump re-election. It's just the thing with Biden is what disappointed me. I didn't have fun. It's more of how many people put themselves back to sleep and put themselves into self-denial. And should Trump get reelected, the one thing that's going to enrage me again, and maybe I'm speaking from my experience from covering from 2016 to 2020, is all the activists and organizers forming up downtown in Chicago to protest in front of freaking Trump Tower. And it's just like, you people were asleep for 4 years when old man Biden was doing this stuff. And what? You're going to protest in front of Trump Tower? Trump Tower, which is a private building that Trump doesn't own. He only has his name, which is profiting off of him. Are you going to have that same goddamn energy to protest in front of a U.S. senator's office or the mayor's office or the representative's office or the governor's office? Are you going to do that? But, oh, no, you want to march to Trump Tower because it's Trump. Yes. That man is going to be gone. And guess what? His name is going to live on forever in human history. So no matter how much you hate him, how many memes you do, or how many say, oh, I hate Trump, he is immortal. His name will live on forever. But people want to protest in front of Trump Tower because what? It makes them feel good about themselves. It's not going to solve a goddamn thing. Sorry, because there's a lot of problems in my city, especially when a lot of these activists and social justice groups were saying we need to make Chicago a sanctuary city. Nick, there's no plan for these migrants at all in Chicago. There was never a plan. And I fear that there's going to be a powder keg that's going to blow up in my city. And the Democratic convention is coming here in Chicago. There's people resentful to Mayor Brandon Johnson. And I want to be wrong about this. But I see something bad happening. I see people rioting. I see people getting upset. I see emotions being triggered. And Chicago so much. I hope that's not the case. But I see it happening. But oh no, people are going to blame Trump because he's the easy boogeyman. When he's not the creator of the system, he's the parasite.
And once again, I'm looking for Trump is going to win. And it's going to be an interesting period because that's when people actually give a fuck about stuff.
Mhm.
You're gonna see liberals actually start protesting when Trump wins. You know what I mean? The same people that deactivated when Democrats are in charge, they can be activated when Republicans are here. But let's continue with the story. We're almost done here. I want to show you guys this. This is, if you guys think I was being like if I was being defamatory in a tweet, everything I said was true. You guys know I don't hold my tongue. I don't engage in soft language. Everything I said about her was true because that is what she's doing here. She wants to silence dissent. I'm gonna play this clip all the way through this time, and then we move on.
And Dr. Gay, at Harvard, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
What's the context?
Targeted as an individual, at an individual.
It's targeted at Jewish students, Jewish individuals. Do you understand your testimony is dehumanizing them? Do you understand that dehumanization is part of anti-Semitism? I will ask you one more time. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric.
And is it anti-Semitic rhetoric?
Anti-Semitic rhetoric when it crosses into conduct that amounts to bullying, harassment, intimidation.
She is quoting the First Amendment, kid, in my friends and family. You guys understand? They got upset at her, and I am not a fan of Claudine Gay because she condemned Palestinian activism, which is what made their reaction so absurd. She is quoting the First Amendment. She's saying that we have a duty to protect free speech of students, even if they say stuff that's inherent, as long as it doesn't lead to action, which none of them are. So this unhinged Karen is upset and got this person fired because she stood up for the First Amendment. This is the person that Trump says is a killer. This is the person that Trump probably going to pick as vice president because this unhinged display made her famous. Like, she became a celebrity overnight because she slayed Claudine Gay over this goddamn straw man. But I'll let it continue, and then I'm almost done. I went pretty long. We almost
That is actionable conduct, and we do take action.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. The answer is yes, and this is...
Yes, it does. That's the First Amendment. The First Amendment is all about context. You can say abhorrent stuff as long as what you say doesn't lead to action. So these America First MAGA people are against the First Amendment, and they are using the same argument that social justice warrior Democrats use to advocate for censorship. Because they say, okay, you can't talk about pronouns, you can't talk about any of these things because you make trans people feel uncomfortable. You can't talk about race because you make black people feel uncomfortable. You guys understand that's the argument that Democrats have used? They said that if you make black people, gay people feel uncomfortable, you're not allowed to do that, so we got to censor you. This is an argument that we reject, that the right wing reject. They are now taking that argument and they're applying it to Jews who they were trying to protect because they are loyal to the state of Israel. And this is the person who Trump wants to pick as vice president. Look at this. Stefanik, who aggressive questioning of Gay went viral, claimed credit for her exit. So you know the whole cancel culture, kid? Remember how we were talking about how we hate cancel culture? You want to know who the only faction who was serious about that? The post-duopolist. You have MEGA, the Make Israel Great Again movement, that is teaming with the ADL and Stop Anti-Semitism and celebrating getting people fired. They were celebrating getting teachers fired. Look at the Twitter account, Stop Anti-Semitism. They post their quote-unquote bodies. They post how unhinged they are. They're like, here, there was an elementary school teacher that said free Palestine on social media, and we got her fired. And they get retweeted by the right wing, kid. Yeah, we canceled school teachers. I don't like Claudine Gay, but on principle, right? Like, I don't like Trump, and I stood up against Russiagate on principle. I don't like Claudine Gay at all. At all. But if people who cheered on the Zionist censorship of her, go ahead, Captain. Want to chime in? Or sir,
so look, I'm gonna make this very clear here. Look, I'm for the First Amendment. I'm a free speech absolutist. I believe in free speech. I'm against censorship. I'm against the way people want to abuse the system because I've dealt with it now not once but 9 times. Okay, and I despise it in every single form. I understand that there are people who are going to say things I despise, but I want to let the people know that even though I don't politically agree with you, I believe in being consistent. And when you call on others to be censored, let's say conservatives would call upon people to be censored. So it's like, no, because if you have a right to speak, others have a right to speak. It's not just one way, it's both ways. The fundamental right of free speech in this country means that everyone has a right to speak. And if that offends you, well, then maybe just stay in your house and don't go outside. Turn off your phone and become a Luddite. Don't touch any technology because everything's going to offend you. The First Amendment is so important to our democracy, to our republic, to independent media, to our entire reporting, because people have a right to speak. And I will not sit here and be saying, oh, well, that person shouldn't speak. If I'm going to have a disagreement, I'll be like, okay, well, I disagree. Is it the end all be all? Because guess what? Nick, when you and I are gone, there's going to be people who are going to disagree with each other. It's nothing new. What I despise is when people say, don't speak like that or you'll get in trouble. Yep. What kind of world is that? F out of here. All right. I don't want to get you guys get hit, but I mean, come on, get out of here with that crap.
So you guys see how Stefanik and I've been learning a lot about her ever since the trial because she became famous. She is beloved by MAGA. And guys, and not only just MAGA, because that performance she loved by Israel and AIPAC. Like there was segments and we did on the show where Morning Joe was praising Elise Stefanik. You know, the same channel that say that Trumpers are the greatest threat to democracy ever. Okay? That's the thesis of Morning Joe. According to them, MAGA are terrorists, but they love Elise Stefanik because she want to censor Americans on behalf of Israel. You guys see how liberals are closer to Trumpers than they think? They loved Elise Stefanik. Now they hate her now because they realize they fucked up, kid. They propped her up and realized, oh shit, we propped up a Trumper. Because now she, after being propped up by MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, and guys, if you wasn't there, please trust me on this. I don't got the receipts on this. She was propped up by the liberal media, much of the conservative media, because they loved the fact that she was calling for censorship on behalf of the Israeli regime. Now they're realizing that she was a Trumper, and they like, fuck. Because now she's saying stuff like January 6th rioters are hostages because she's trying to be Trump VP. She's doing these interviews where it's super obvious she's trying to be her VP. I don't got the receipts. I apologize because we're doing a little bit off the cuff here. But in one of these interviews, she was asked, do you try to be Trump VP? And she definitely was like, she did say no on purpose. She gave this answer that was essentially like, hey, Trump, please make me VP. I can't say it publicly. For political purposes, please make VP. So you guys see this insane Israel psychopath is loved by MAGA. So I'm not strawmanning. Trump praised potential VP Elise Stefanik as a killer after she interrogated college presidents. So it's not like Trump don't see what we see, kid. He's the worst of Elise Stefanik. Trump saw Elise Stefanik call for censorship of Americans, and Trump said, I want her on my team. Even if she's not vice president, you guys think she's not going to get in place in the administration? Cabinet is going to be ran by Zionists. I am going to have fun all year making fun of the MAGA movement, the Make Israel Great Again movement, because I had a lot of these people lie to me in my face. I had a lot of these people telling me in my face a lot of shit that made no sense, kid. A lot of people told me shit that made no goddamn sense. A lot of people told me shit like the MAGA movement is anti-imperialist. A lot of people told me stuff like the MAGA movement is anti-establishment. You are not anti-establishment. You're not anti-imperialist if you are making your bed with Zionists. And that has always been my criticism. I got one more last receipt. I want to read the last one and now pass to you. Oh, yeah, I definitely had to read these last two. I got two more. We are seeing the Zionist purge of the media. And this is what Elise Stefanik wants. This is the campaign that Elise Stefanik and the Zionists are pushing. Breaking, in this, I'll just read the tweet. Sydney Herald reports that Australian Broadcasting Corporation sacked award-winning Australian Lebanese host after a high-level coordinated letter writing campaign on behalf of pro-Israeli lobby. So you had this Australian journalist who was fired because she was telling the truth about Israel and Australia. We also have Mehdi Hassan, who was fired on MSNBC for telling the truth about Israel. Once again, don't care about these people, but you guys see we stand on free speech on principle. So the Zionist purge of free speech in this country, and we're in our network, And the post-duopolis, we are the only people calling it like this. You have Russell Brand and telling people still flirting with MAGA. There is no flirting with anyone who's a Zionist after this. You guys understand the biggest threat to free speech and free press is the Zionist movement. They're taking out journalists. They are killing journalists. They killed they killing record amount of journalists. They kill UN workers. And this is the end game. And this is my last thing I want to say here. If you guys think I am crazy, this is what Elise Stefanik was sent to do. This was the end game. To fight anti-Semitism on campuses, we must restrict speech.
No.
And this is false. And this is after the Elise Stefanik hearing. Look at the people. This is the president that Elise Stefanik grilled. So the position of MAGA and the Trump is that we got to fight free speech, because at the time when I covered this, I said, what are you guys implying? If you disagree with my analysis of Claudine Gay and the fact that she just stand up for free speech, what you guys implying that she should do to people chanting from the river to the sea? What Claudine Gay says is that she find that deplorable, kid, because she's a fucking sellout piece of shit. Claudine Gay is a sellout piece of shit, so she threw Palestinians under the bus to protect her job. But she said, even though I find it deplorable, I can't do anything to them. So then she said that was unacceptable because Elise Stefanik wanted to crack down on the free speech of students, expel them. They want the school to pull funding. They want to attack the establishment institutions. And Emily, I'm sorry, my sweet summer child. We're talking about the Uniparty here. I just told you guys, liberals agree with MAGA more than they think they do. That's why they got criticized Lloyd Austin over a fucking boo-boo.
Wait. I'm sorry. No. Here's the thing. Here's how we knew that liberals agree with MAGA more than ever. When the first migrants came to Martha's Vineyard. Oh, hi, welcome. Now get out.
Yeah.
There we go. That's how we knew. Martha's Vineyard. What, you think we forgot what you all did? Like, oh, we love you. These are the same people there's no hate here. We welcome everybody. But can't have these migrants here. Shush. Get out of Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
BS, man.
Washington
Those liberals are there, man. Come on.
The Washington Post, liberals, Democrats, MAGA, Trumpers, whatever you want to call them. And I've been trying to stop calling people out individually because I try to give you guys benefit of doubt. I'm not trying to call this person now, but this shit got to stop. They have the same policy on Venezuela. They have the same policy on Iran. They have the same policy on China. They have the same policy regarding ICE. They have the same policy regarding policing. They have the same policy regarding healthcare. They believe the same thing. Do not separate the Washington Post from MAGA. We're not doing that this year. They're in the Make Israel Great Again movement. Anyway, I think I'm done with the segment. We had a 2-hour show. I think we're done. I think I'm just drawing it out at this point because I went in on that headline. You guys see, that's the end game. To fight anti-Semitism, we must restrict free speech. And the Trump administration is 100% going to go along with that. You think that at least finally going to change her position once she becomes vice president? She's going to take that house speech. You know the thing that made her famous? She's about to double down on that. And even if Trump doesn't hire her for VP, she's going to be part of the administration. So he's going to hire another Zionist. That's the position of the party. The position of Trump is pro-Israel. So in the year 2024, we're all about clarity. We're all about calling out people who are not about clarity. So in order to be clear, we need a post-duopolis movement that is rooted in the tenets of anti-war and class struggle. And our number one enemy right now, because we all about identifying enemy, is Zionism. Zionism is the number one threat to free press. One of the receipts I cut, which I may cover on Saturday, is how CNN essentially admitting, and I think it was like an older clip, but I'm going to show you guys how CNN was just like admitting that they submit all evidence, all their media to Israel for approval. They get approval from Israel and the IDF before they report on anything there. Zionism had completely destroyed free speech and freedom of the press and these liberties that MAGA and the populist right claim they care about. So they are our number one enemy. They are number one class traitors. They are putting for censorship on college campuses. The goal and the target of RBN is to take out Zionists. And last year, I think CJ would say this. Last year, I think a good way to sum up RBN. We did a lot of anti-imperialist work, but we focused heavily on the criticism of the Social Democrats, right? We focused a lot on criticizing Bernie and the Bernie industrial complex. This is also because of the NATO left. We had the rise of the NATO left, the Ukraine war, but the Ukraine war is dead, essentially. That people know that Bernie and the Social Democrats are discredited now at this point. At this point in 2024, and a channel that's constantly evolving, my number one focus are Zionists for this year and for Americans. There is no enemy that is more significant to take on the Zionists. We need to prepare for a revolution to take on the Zionists. They will not give up this power easily. They're extremely powerful, and they will shoot to kill. You guys see they're willing to. So that's my last word. I give you last word. We're 2 hours in, so I'll wrap up there.
So look, I mean, obviously you've been doing a 2-hour show. First of all, Nick, you guys at RBN are killing it. So look, folks, I know that this election year, it's starting off, we're in the third week now of 2023 now, or 2024. Oh my goodness. Oh, I stuttered on that one. Sorry about that, folks. Look, I understand there's a lot of uncertainty here. But here's how we can get out of this. We have to start building movements and organizations dedicated to building our communities up. Don't let this election cycle cause you to be divided. At the end of the day, if you're going to vote, it's that your one vote is going to be a participation. Okay, it's not going to be the end all be all breaker of overall who will become president, because at the end of the day, you can't control who will become president. All right, don't let that be the thing to consume your mind and soul. Don't let this uncertainty consume you. What you can do is the good that you can do in your community, for your people, for your neighbors, for your friends and your allies, even outside of your community. Build a better community so we can build a better future. That's the only thing I could say here in order for us to progress forward.
Well said, kid. And I'm definitely going to be bothering you a lot. Also because I want to do everything I can to help. You got your channel. I was about to say about you got your channel, but we still gonna help promote Arlen. We'll do everything we can.
Yeah. Because right now we are still in a fight, and we have to recover after. Look, because I've been shadow banned for 6 months before, and that was in 2020. 3 weeks still hurts the channel. We're trying to recover, and people have been very generous and showing mutual aid and support. There's a lot that I want to do, but folks, we're not out of the woods yet.
As far as I'm concerned, post-Duopolis that's still a thing. You know what I mean? Big shout out to Keaton and Russell for having us on the Jimmy Dore show. Good. Big shout out to Jimmy, Misha, and the crew because obviously that's their show. They will approve that as well. You're not seeing many shows that highlight RBN and mutual aid. Jimmy and the crew does. Dissonance. Our brothers at Do Dissonance was given one chance to host the Jimmy Dore show, fam. They was given this one opportunity. And what they use this opportunity is to platform us to highlight our mutual aid. Do Distance is the real good deal, guys. Like that was they hosting Jimmy Dore show. That's what they decided to do. Host to do a mutual aid highlight. You know what I mean? So post duopoly going nowhere. I told Keaton last Thursday. We had Keaton on last Thursday. You guys are gonna see the rotation of Keaton on Nick at night all the time. All the time.
Good. Count me in. Count me in.
Yeah.
Send me.
I'm gonna be bothering you a lot, brother. I hope you don't mind. We bothering you a lot.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tuesday, Thursday evening, Saturday at noon. I'm bringing the crew back. Misty Winston's gonna be back. I looked at the date. I talked to Misty earlier today. I haven't had Misty on since like September. I was like, what? That's crazy because holidays thing was crazy. So Nick and Knight, you're gonna see all the homies are coming back, bro. Like Misty will be back. The post duopoly boys gonna be coming through. So I'm having a lot of fun doing this show. Having a lot of fun doing the hotspot videos. Make sure you guys follow hotspot. With hotspot, like I feel like hotspot is making me sharper as a commentator. Because I wake up, I do a lot of research, I do these videos.
Hell yeah!
And I'm I do these long streams where I rant a lot. Hotspot give me a ton of freedom. They tell me I can say whatever I want. The only thing they tell me is it's gotta be short. The whole point of it is a short video. They like the only restriction. So I gotta do everything for like under 2 minutes. I feel like that made me sharper. I do ton of reading. That's why I told Hotspot, like, dude, I love this shit because it makes me better as a political commentator doing those videos, believe it or not. So make sure you guys follow Hotspot. I'm doing another video tomorrow. I'm actually loving like this new schedule. Hotspot in the morning, we got a new video come out. Then Nick and Knight in the evening. So Nick and CJ on Monday, Simon and JB has show on Thursday, and we got Kid back as well. Do Distance killing the game, Savvy killing the game. It was a great time to be part of the Post Duopolis Club. So, Kid, I'll give you last words to shout everything out, and then we wrap up. Any last words?
So, folks, our main channel is alive and well. We are live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central. Hard Lens Media is now officially verified on Rumble, and I will be doing everything I can. So the first portion of the morning show will be on YouTube. Second portion, Rumble, because we could speak our minds out there. So I have been reaching out to the people who run Rumble, and I'm doing everything I can to expand the Hard Lens Media brand. And also, look, I'm just going to say this to you, Nick, and everybody else. But as soon as I start progressing and building more on the Rumble platform, I want to have you guys on there. We have a show on Can TV, which is public access, which I have every guest that I've had on my show, including people from RBN, be exposed to Chicago Public Television, which is I want to keep on doing, having more guests in, people who can be exposed to my Chicago audience. And look, at the end of this year, I do have a very special announcement to make. I can't say anything yet because nothing's truly certain, but by the end of 2024, there will be a big change with Hard Lens Media. Everything still remains the same up until now, but by December, there's going to be a gigantic change that will shake the foundations of HLM, and that's all I can say.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'll definitely be reaching out here very soon. I'll pop you in the back. Make sure you guys support us on Patreon if you enjoy the stream. The next time I'll be back will be Saturday with Noah from Midwestern Marks. So I don't have an extra exit video, so I'll put this up. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.